guys, this is Rad Fox here, sporting a Golf R hat from Volkswagen. Today I'm going to talk about the DAP package on the Golf R. And I've had several questions, messages, asking some specifics, and so I will try to capture some of those specifics here in this video. But understand, this is sort of a hard thing to do, to demonstrate really all the capabilities of this system. It's it's almost impossible, and some of this stuff you have to actually almost be in danger to actually demonstrate, so it's going to be hard to actually show some of those things, but I'll do my best here, so bear with me. The first thing I can say is that obviously it's called the driver assistance package. It just gives you some safety assistance in your daily driving if you leave all the features enabled. Obviously if you're a purist, the less the computer, the less the car is interfering or interacting with you, probably the happier you are. But a lot of these features, again, they're just there to assist you, to help you, to make you a little bit safer. And so I don't really mind them. I don't think it's ever done anything that really caused me to be alarmed or caused me to not really trust the system. But again, it is a computer system and it could make mistakes, and there's plenty of warnings in the owner's manual that tell you that no matter what the capabilities are of the system, that it's always down to you as the driver to make sure that you're driving safe and responding correctly in any situation. Alright, so what I think we'll do first is we'll walk around the car and we'll just look at the sensors and talk about that, and then next we'll go inside the car and we'll look at the infotainment and MFD displays and settings for the driver assistance package, and then after that we'll try to do some driving and just take a look at the system and see what it's doing.
So before we talk about the sensors, let's list the DAP systems. So we have lane assist, which gives you your lane departure warning. We have adaptive cruise control, which is the automatic cruise control. We have front assist, which gives you your forward collision warning. We have park distance control, which helps you maneuver and park in tight spaces. We have rear traffic assist, which helps with the blind spot monitoring when there's cars coming up on you really fast. And it also helps with backing out in parking lots. And we have blind spot monitoring, which helps make sure you don't change lanes and smack somebody that's in your blind spot. And then finally, we do not have parking assist on the American Golf R. Parking assist is the feature that allows the car to actually turn its own steering wheel and locate parking spots and pull into those parking spots.
Okay, first up is the camera system up here in the windshield. That's used for lane assist, what Volkswagen is calling lane assist. And this camera can actually see the markings on the road and help guide the car and make steering corrections to keep the car within its lane. I have read on the Volkswagen site that these cameras are usually 3D. I don't know if this one's really 3D. I'm not totally convinced that it's seeing three-dimensional objects and making decisions based on that, but I definitely know that it does work with the actual lane markings on the road. Alright, so the next sensor we'll talk about here is the forward-looking radar. The forward-looking radar is used by the automated cruise control and the front assist system. This radar can determine if there's a moving vehicle in front of you, how fast you're approaching that vehicle, and if you're maintaining a constant distance between that vehicle. So those are really important, obviously, for the automated cruise control. So when it's used by the front assist system, it's used to determine if the car should perform an evasive or emergency braking action. Not only is it just emergency braking, but it will also apply extra brake pressure if it senses that there's a collision imminent and you've already applied the brakes. It will boost the pressure and force the car to stop even faster. One other thing too that's interesting that this system does is that it gives you a display inside the car if it thinks that you're tailgating or you're falling too close to the vehicle in front of you. Basically telling you that the vehicle, that the Volkswagen, that the R doesn't think that you have an appropriate distance between you and the vehicle in front of you to avoid a collision if they suddenly apply their brakes. Okay, so the next system that we can see up here, or set of sensors for the next system, is the park distance control. And so the park distance control is here to help you when you're maneuvering around in a parking lot, when you're pulling in or backing in somewhere. And it's basically your radar system around the perimeter of the car. And with this system though, it uses these little sensors here, these ultrasonic sensors. It's got 4 in the front and 4 in the back. And these sensors are fed to a graphical display in the car with a distance reading for each of the individual sensors, which we'll see here in a minute. All right, so here are the 4 sensors for the park distance control. Now, there's another set of sensors here, actually another set of radar that most of you probably don't know about. There's a radar located behind the bumper over here and on the same side over there. And these radar are used for the blind spot monitoring and what Volkswagen is calling rear traffic assist. So these 2 radar systems are pretty powerful. Not as powerful as the front system, right? The front system can do out to, say, 400 feet. These radar here are supposedly good out to about 63 feet, straight back behind the vehicle, and they also shoot out approximately 1 lane's worth of distance to the side, to the left and right of the vehicle. It is also used when you're backing out of somewhere. So you put the car in reverse, and then now you've got 63 feet out of radar coverage. So this system here is designed to alert you if there's a vehicle approaching from the sides or coming in too fast at you when you're in reverse that you might not see otherwise. Using that information, the system can automatically apply the brakes. It will usually give you a audible tone in the system, and you'll see it on the infotainment system if the system is enabled. Okay, so let's first look at the infotainment system, and I'll show you what kind of settings are available. So if we go to car and go into the setup, then we have a selection here for assistance systems. Now that should be unique to the DAP system. And here's our basic set of settings. So we have adaptive cruise control settings in here, and front assist settings, and lane assist, and blind spot. So let's go back up here and look at this. So right now I have the system selected to do last distance selected. So this means that once I set the distance that I like, or the distance that I prefer with the adaptive cruise control, that distance is stored and I don't have to continually reselect it. All right, so what is that distance? You don't get a choice for the actual measurement in meters or feet or anything like that, but basically these are your settings. I prefer the very close, which means it's right up near the tailgating distance. It's not, the car doesn't consider it tailgating, but I'll try to give you an example when we're actually driving around. But obviously you can come through here and pick your settings. My favorite is very close. Okay, but I'm going to put it back to last distance selected. And then we have the front assist collision warning selections. Obviously you can disable it. If you disable it, you're going to get this message up here, front assist deactivated on the MFD, and you get this little symbol here showing that it's off. They've got a warning symbol here telling you that you don't have all your safety features enabled. And then this right here though is for the lane assist, which we'll talk about later. So let's turn it back on. Actually, I'll show over here, and you can see that that light went off. Advanced warning. What this is this is part of the front assist system that is going to alert you if you're about ready to rear end somebody, or if you're coming up too fast on somebody. And what that does, and what this is going to keep from happening,
is that with this enabled, in the MFD, you're going to get this whole MFD will flash up red, and it's going to show this symbol right here on the stock, this N symbol. And that means that the system thinks you're about ready to rear end somebody. And when that happens, either if you touch the brakes when that happens, the system will usually overcompensate your brake pedal press, and it will force you to stop even faster or slow down even faster than what you would have expected. And or the system can apply the brakes all by itself and try to either avoid the collision or reduce the damage from the collision. All right. So the display distance warning should be your tailgating indicator. And the tailgating indicator will come up in here on the MFD, below the MFD right here, but it's not going to do it unless we're driving. So we're not going to get to see that right here yet. We'll have to do that here later. So lane assist, this is showing that it's active right now, and that is what the little orange indicator is in here, right? Right now it's saying, because it's orange, that it does not see any lane markings with the camera. So if it sees lane markings, that will turn green. Right now I will just hit the disable. You can see that it's no longer lit up, so it doesn't care if there's lane markers or not. I'm going to turn it back on. So the next thing is the blind spot monitor. So I'm going to disable this real quick, because when you enable it, it actually flashes the lights in the mirrors so that you can see that they actually are working. So let's go look at the mirror. You can see the mirror, and I'm going to enable it. And there you go. That's what the light looks like when there's a car to the side of you or a car fastly approaching your blind spot, to warn you that you should not make a lane change. So that's all we have in here. Okay, so additionally to the assistance systems, there's a parking and maneuvering selection. And within here, you can set up the park pilot to always turn on automatically when you move from park to drive or reverse, or from reverse to drive or drive to reverse. And so I just leave that on. You can set a unique volume and pitch for the front sensors and a unique volume and pitch for the rear sensors. I think I had this on, was I on 7 or 8? 7? Okay, so that's 7. How about front pitch? Let me see. Oh man. Yes, that's definitely, I had that set differently. Okay, so that's 7 there. Then rear pitch. You might ask, why is that even important? It's because even though you might be pulling forward, your rear sensors are still active, and even though you might be backing up, your front sensors are still active. And if somebody walks across your sensor while you're, going forwards or backwards or whatever, when you're not looking there, you'll be able to tell by that sound if it's the front or the rear that's being triggered. And obviously there's an audio lowering setting in here so that it will automatically turn your stereo down. You can set the level to which you want to lower your stereo system so that you can actually hear these beeps and these alerts. And there's the rear traffic alert, the rear traffic assist here. You can enable or disable it in here, as well as in the MFD, which we'll talk about in a second. So am I missing anything in here? I think that's it. Those are the main settings. Okay. One other thing I should mention is that this car, the Golf R 2016 USA version anyways, does not come with Park Assist. Park Assist would be a little button that has a steering wheel on it with the radar symbols. And if we had that button on the Golf R, we'd be able to enable it, and the car has the ability then to scan for a parking space and then show you or identify the parking space on your screen, and then allow you to tell the car that you'd like to park in that spot, and then the car would automatically steer the wheel and park the car either in a parallel parking spot or in a back-end parking spot. But unfortunately, the Golf R does not have that. In order to have the Park Assist, we have to have a power steering rack that has a motor on it that has enough power to turn the wheels while we're not moving. The Golf R does have the ability to make slight steering corrections with the lane assist system, but that's because it's using the front brakes and pulsing either the left or the right, causing the car to make slight adjustments. But without the motor, the Golf R cannot make continuous lane corrections, and it cannot steer itself into a parking spot. So that's all we have in here in the infotainment system. But you can also make some adjustments and see the settings up here in your MFD. And how you do that is that there's a assistance system button right here on the stock. So if you push that, it will access your on and off selections for your different assistance systems. So you hit that button, you access it, and then you can go through the menu and you can enable or disable any of your individual systems. Let's see, turn that back on. Rear traffic doesn't really give you any indicator that it's not doing anything. Blind spot isn't going to do anything except blink the indicator lights in the mirrors when you actually enable it again. And then lane assist obviously shuts that off. So these are the things you probably want to shut off if you're going to go track the car. But for normal driving, this is all good stuff to have enabled. And one thing I didn't mention, although I don't know the exact value of this, my insurance company, when I contacted them, asked if this car had all these safety features, and when I said it did, they said, oh, well, that's going to get you a pretty good discount. So I don't know how much that discount actually was, but it does lower your insurance bill having this system on this car. All right, so the next thing we're going to talk about or go into more depth on is the park distance control. And park distance control is activated through this button. Once you have this activated, it basically stays activated unless you disable it. And when you activate it, here's what happens on the infotainment center. You get a picture of the car and you get a graphical indicator of distance for each of the 4 sensors in the rear and in the front. And then also this larger area that comes off here to the sides, that is all part of the rear traffic assist system. So these sensors here can see really far out to the sides of the vehicle. In fact, there was a car that just drove by and you just saw that red. And that car was probably, I don't know, 15 feet away from my car. So that was a good example of what this will do. Now, it wasn't close enough for it to actually do an audible alarm, but if it was coming in closer, it would sound off a beep or tone, and you know, and of course, if we were moving, it could automatically trigger the car to apply the brakes. So right now, I have a trash can behind my car, and that is why you're seeing these 2 white lines, or I think they're referred to as gray in the owner's manual, showing that there's something back there. So I'm going to put the car in reverse, and you're going to see how the view changes. So putting the car in reverse now shows the car to the side here with the translucent background. And somebody had asked me before, and I didn't even realize it at the time, but since I've been playing with the system, that it looks like it automatically goes to translucent, but if your hand is near here, obviously it brings up this menu, and then you can't see very well with your camera. So when I take my hand away, it goes away. Now you can obviously see there's a trash can there, and I guess it's picking it up with both of the rear radar, or the 2 ultrasonic sensors in the center of the car. So I'm going to go ahead and back up, and let's see what it does. Right? The tone starts increasing its rate, its beeping rate, and sounds like the tone is actually changing, right? And so let's see, let's go all the way back. Okay, so actually if you look at that, there's still one more click. There's still one more little radar section there. So I'm gonna go back some more. But see, the tone doesn't change. So basically the car's saying, look, don't go any further than this, but you can. Let's go some more. There, boom, that's it. Okay, so now that is absolutely
as close as you want to go, at least with this system, because you don't really know how much more distance you have there. So I'm gonna put in park, and let's go outside and let's look at that. Oh, I just rolled like another inch. Okay, I should have left the auto hold on. Let's go look. So as you can see, there's still actually quite a bit of distance here between the back of the car and the trash can. I mean, that looks like it's about 4 inches, but the car probably did move at least an inch, so it was probably at least 5 inches before I let off before I put the car in park. Let's pull the car forward and let's see if we can get it. I want to show you that it should be able to tell or show that that trash can is, yeah, to one side. See, when I put it in reverse, you can see now, because I'm angling the car back, it's picking it up over here. Let's see, there you go. It sort of gets both of them there, right? Okay, so that's it right there. Now see, actually this time, because I came at an angle, you can see it's showing me that it's seeing it a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit further away. So this is pretty good. I mean, this is a pretty impressive system. They warn you about things that are protruding. I'm going to shut that tone off. You can silence it so if you don't ever want to hear it. They warn you about things protruding from things you're backing up against, like, you know, trailer hitches or pieces of pipe or pieces of wood. The system may not accurately detect, you know, narrow, protruding objects, so you've got to be careful with that. But I mean, if you know there's a car back there, it's probably going to handle a car pretty well. Another thing here that you can see is that while I'm turning the steering wheel, you're getting a graphical representation of where you're headed into those sensors, right? So that can help you with that. Let's go ahead and pull forward, and then I'm gonna put it back in reverse again and just show you the same thing in reverse. Right? Okay, so actually we can't get that displayed, can we? We can go here. So we can switch back and forth between this view here with the actual camera, right? Or we can go to this view here with just the sensors, and where we can see the path of our vehicle relative to the obstacle and where we're turning.
So now I'm going to show you some video of blind spot monitoring.
Blind spot monitoring, I believe you have to be driving over 8 miles per hour for it to even activate. So if you're stopped or you're barely moving, it's not going to do anything. Okay, here's a car going to pass me, and since we're going slow, it didn't even indicate it. Nope. So we're going 20 miles per hour. So any car that comes into our side view is going to light up now. Actually, Juan and I passed this guy. Okay, so I'm going to overtake this vehicle here on the left. And we don't get a light, see? Okay? Because it knows that we know we're overtaking it. Now, if I slow back down, I'm going to let off the gas, and then he's going to start slowly catching up with me. And he comes back into my blind spot. I would hope that it turns on. There it is. He's in my blind spot. Okay? When it stays on, I still can't see him out of the corner of my eye. And he's still in the blind spot, so the indicator's still on. Oh, nothing's happening. Okay, good. So I pulled away from him. He probably sees the camera and thinks I'm a stalker. He's probably got something to hide. Everybody in New Mexico's got something to hide, man. Shit. He's not going to get up in my blind spot. Damn it to hell. Yep. Okay, yeah, so it sees him. It knows he's there. Do you see that? It lit up. And you can see there's a car coming. I'm driving 40. And let's see, when do we think that he would be in my blind spot? Bam, right there. And we don't see him. Oh, he's slowing down now. He's staying in my blind spot. Look at that. Back out of the blind spot. Huh.
And now I'll show you an example of
Okay, so let's get going to 40, right, for lane assist.
Okay, light turns green. Okay, I'm gonna initiate, I'm gonna get the car to start drifting to the left-hand side, and I'm gonna let go of the wheel. Drifting, drifting, oh, nope, nope, turn back. Okay, just a very subtle change, but enough. Now, if I was actually holding the steering wheel, if you don't turn on your blinker first, before you go to make the turn, the steering wheel in the car sort of fights you, because it's doing it's modulating the brakes, and the steering wheel will actually, you know, feel like there's extra resistance when you go to cross the line when you don't have your turn signal on. Okay, let's see how well the car can handle these lines. So it says it sees them. Interesting. Now what I'm going to do is, now see, it can't see these lines. So this is a good example of when it can't track it. We're going 50 miles per hour, and it does not see these lines. They're too light. Now it sees these, but now I've got to stop. Alright, so let's get up to 40. Okay, so we're going 40 now. I'm going to just drift over towards this line, and I can feel the steering wheel. You can see the car starting to turn. The car is turning itself at that point. Now let's see if it'll stay. Oh, look at that. Oh, it's trying to follow the other line. Ah, we confused it because I wasn't touching the steering wheel. So it looked like it was following, first it was following the lines on the right, and then that line started cutting over on the left-hand side of the car, and so the car started shifting left, and then it said, oh shit, I don't even know what to do, and you're not touching the steering wheel, so it took control. So let's go back down here again. Okay, so we're going 40. I'm gonna let off the steering wheel, and I'm not touching the steering wheel. And let's see what it does. Okay, yep, it's making a correction for this dotted line. Very well, very nice. No hand still. So I'm gonna hit the brakes now. Now again, these are very subtle changes in the steering. It's not making drastic changes. So if you're on a sharp, steep hill or something like that, on an incline or on an embankment, I doubt that this is even going to be helpful. So it's almost like it's just enough, again, just to alert you if you're not paying attention, just enough to keep you from drifting into another lane if you're not watching. But I think most of us are always cognizant of that, and we're not likely to do that. But for the one chance that it does happen, this could save you. This could keep you from getting in an accident. So I'm steering right now, and let's see what else we've got. If I let go of the steering right here, I'm pretty sure it's gonna, see, it could not make enough steering correction. Now also, what was interesting, right there when I did that, I wasn't steering, right? So I let the car cross that line. I barely touched my hand on the steering wheel, and I could feel it shaking. It was pulsing. I could feel that pulsing at about that rate. And so, you know, if I had like dozed off, or if I had looked away for a second, that vibration would have made me look, you know, would have told me to pay attention, and I could have made a correction. So again, I'll let it drift to the right. I'm gonna let go of the steering wheel, and you can see the car just sort of pulled right back over, and it looks like it's in the middle of the lane. Now, I've tried to make it do multiple corrections, and it seems like it gives up. See, right now it knows that I don't have my hands on the steering wheel. So I guess this, from what I've read, the system is constantly monitoring to see if there's slight adjustments being made in the steering wheel. If it doesn't detect that the slight adjustments are constantly being made by a human, then it assumes you've fallen asleep or you're not paying attention. And so that's when that lane assist comes on.
Now let's take a look at automatic cruise.
I'm going to go ahead and get behind this car, and I'm going to set on them. I'm going to increase the speed to a potential of 60. I guess one thing I could say too is that this system is not foolproof. And, okay, yeah, so I'm going to stay behind him. Okay, so I'm not hitting the brakes, not hitting the brakes. Car's automatically slowing down. And now I'm going to have to hit the brakes because I don't want to pull out in front of that car that's coming. Alright, let's go left again. See how everything gets ruined when I try to film this? Alright, let's go back this way again. I guess we could set the cruise control, and then what do we set to? 39? We need to be a little bit, let's make it so it's like 42 or something. So I'm not hitting the gas or the brakes. And I'll set the car drifting towards the line. And you can see it just pulled back. I'll set it drifting towards this line. And you can see the car turn, shift back, away. Now again, if I have my hand on here when this happens, it sort of just feels like, again, that the car's fighting me a little bit. Just a little bit of fighting. Okay, so let's get behind him. Perfect stop. I'm going to hit the set. I'm going to set it up to, say, 50. I'm going to let out the brakes. We're parked here. We're in actual drive. I'm going to put it in sport mode this time. And I believe it should accelerate with more authority being in sport mode. No foot on the brakes, no foot on the gas. Here we go. I'm going to tap the gas, take my foot off. Come on, let's go, car. Here we go. All right. So the car is accelerating on its own. Okay, so here's another thing. On the steering wheel, there's the symbol here that will, it allows you to set that distance. So I guess once we're set, it won't let us do that. So I'm going to set it back to what I believe is the very far. And you can see the car's pulling ahead of us further. We're still set on very far. Okay, yeah, you can see this is pretty far, but this is nothing compared to how far the car can see. So it's set to 52 and we're going about 45, so it's definitely seeing the car in front of us and controlling the speed, slowing the car down, keeping the car under the speed I had suggested. Alright, so I can quickly go in here and set it to very close. And now the car is, now we're accelerating up on the car. And they're hitting their brakes and hitting their turn signal. I am not hitting my brakes. Okay. Alright, the car pulled away. Now there's a pause there. And now we are accelerating on our own. Oh shit. And now we're going to crash into these cars up here.
So let me make something clear here. The cruise control cannot see stationary objects. So if you come flying up on a parked car at a stoplight, you're going to end up rear-ending. So, you know, this is a good point here. This is why you don't really want to be using the cruise control in stoplight kind of traffic.
Let's get behind her and let's lock on. Okay, so I'm going to hit the set button. And now it's locked on to following close behind her. I've got my foot off the brakes, off the gas. She's speeding up. And I think, yeah, we're set to go all the way to 60. I'm going to bump up the speed up to allow the car to go up to 65. You can see 65 down there in the lower left. Now she gets over, we should start speeding up. We are a little bit because we're catching up to her, but now I'm going to get back behind her. And now the car's going to slow back down. You can see that. So I'm going to stay right behind her. Shit. All right, I'm not applying the brakes. The car is doing it itself. Now this is scary because, yeah, the car knows we're doing a turn. Oh, I had not touched the gas. I have not touched the gas. Oh shit, don't know. All right, I'm hitting the brakes. I'm scared. All right, I've never done that where I followed somebody around a turn before. That was scary. All right, let's go find somebody else to lock our cruise control onto. Who can we follow now, huh? Who should we follow? How about this guy right here? So I set it, and then I let off the brakes, and it's holding. I do not have auto hold on. Okay, so I tap the gas, and the car is accelerating. Let's go. Okay, so let's hit the set button again and bump up the speed to like, I don't know, what are we at, 42? 45? Okay, so the automated cruise control is on, we're locked on. Looks like we're going about 42. I'm gonna bump it up so that the car will be allowed to go to 50 if it's allowed to. And then let's see what happens here. So we've got a constant speed of 40, and this car is going to cut in front of us. And now the Golf R is applying the brakes to maintain the same close distance setting, very close distance setting. Now that car's speeding up a little bit, so now we're speeding up. Now there's a gap, a larger gap than I want, so the car is going to accelerate to fill that gap. And now we're maintaining our distance, our very close distance at this speed. Now the very close distance, the very close distance is proportional to the speed you're going. So the faster you're going, the larger that very close distance is going to be. Oh, there you go. Woo! Okay, that was perfect. Okay, we caught one right there. Wow, awesome. Okay, so that car that was in front of me made a left-hand turn, and he was a little bit to my side. He wasn't really even in front of me, but the car perceived a threat, and then I went to slightly tap the brakes, and then the car slammed the brakes on. So you saw that on the video. Okay, so I don't really see this adaptive or automated cruise control as being that effective in the city, in this kind of traffic that we're driving in right here, because I'm not just the kind of person that's going to sit back behind a car if they're driving slow. I'm going to be passing and working my way through all these kinds of cars in this kind of traffic. So to me, using the automated cruise control in this kind of setting here isn't very useful. But where it is useful is out on the interstate, and especially during rush hour traffic, and when you need to actually, when there's really not that many options, when you really can't sit here and change lanes and go around people constantly, when you're sort of stuck in the traffic, or if you're driving for a long time and you want to relax, then yes, put on the automated cruise control and don't worry about it. It'll handle, the speeding up and slowing down on the interstate and all that kind of stuff. So that's great. But for city driving like this right here, and I'm actually driving very reserved. This isn't normally how I would even drive. I'm never going to sit behind somebody like this. But, see, like that car right there now is speeding up. So the behavior of the cars on the road in the city right here is erratic. So in that case, it's going to make the automated cruise control, it's going to make it hard for the system to work properly. It's just too many things going on. So you can't fully rely on it.
All right, so now I've already talked to you about the ACC and how I feel about that. For the other systems like lane assist, front assist, blind spot monitoring, and park distance control, I think they're really worth it. The front assist is just there to keep you from impacting as hard as you might impact, and it might actually prevent a front crash. Blind spot monitoring, obviously, that's a no-brainer. It's just good to have it. It's just going to be safe. It's just going to be safer with it. The park distance control, obviously, if you're in a tight parking spot, you don't have to get out and look. You can sit there and maneuver your car backwards and forwards until you can get completely out of the spot. So I think that's really worth it. The lane assist, though, again, it's not major lane adjustments. It's just very minor adjustments. So again, it's just an added safety factor. And so all these sensors are working together to help protect you. And I can tell you, one time when I was getting onto the interstate was pretty empty. I saw the far lane was empty. I floored it onto the interstate, and as I was changing lanes, I looked back. I didn't see anything, and as I was changing into the fast lane, the car, the steering wheel started shaking, and it felt like the throttle was even, possibly cutting in and out. It's probably because the brakes were pulsing so fast. And then I look in the mirror again, and there's a Camaro SS like right on my ass. And so in that particular case, like I said, what in the hell's wrong with my car? And then I look and I'm like, holy shit, there's a car right on my ass. So in that particular case, it did alert me. And so now I know if the car ever does anything like that again, that it's trying to tell me something. And so I just think that that's it's good to have that. And for me, it's definitely worth it. And so I would recommend driver assistance package.